Bro, I'm not even finished with Persona 3 Reload yet, and I already have to talk about fucking more DLC and future remakes. Jesus Christ, the internet doesn't stop. Alright, yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Point here, and yeah, Persona 3 Reload has been out for just over a week. I'm about 55 hours into the game, and Jesus Christ, I wasn't planning on posting another video until I had finished the game. But apparently, the internet had other plans because it has been on the fire the past week with fucking, like, leaks and all this other bullshit. And I honest to God, was gonna wait to cover all of this, but there's just so much to talk about. There's just so much to talk about, and I feel like if I don't talk about it now, I'll never get the chance to. So, that being said, this video is about two different things. It's about it's about majorly it's about two different things. It's about the it's about the leaked future DLC plans for Persona 3 Reload, and it's about the possible future Persona remakes and what those entail. So yeah, I also do want to briefly talk about Persona 5X and Persona Asa. I know that's all kind of old news now, but I never really got to give my opinion on it, so I'll sort of throw that at the end of the video, just for people who are interested in it. So, but anyway, let's start off with the Persona 3 Reload DLC news. So basically, this came from two different sources. It came from Midori on Twitter. I think she tweeted about it before the game came out. I'm not on Twitter, and I haven't been on Twitter since the Persona 3 Portable remaster came out last year because the backlash to that made me realize just how fucked that app was. And then I left, and it got worse. So I think I made the right call on that. But anyway, so Midori came out and said that there are future plans for DLC in Persona 3 Reload. And most of you probably heard about this by now, but just for those who haven't, basically, throughout the fiscal year, which is assumed to be the 2025 fiscal year, so this is most likely going to start dropping in September, and they're going to continue to drop it throughout from September this year to September next year. That seems to be the general idea of when this stuff is going to come out. And it includes a couple different things. It includes Velvet Room costumes, which is a little bit disappointing. Velvet Room music, apparently, is one of them. And I'm like, what does that mean? Like, a Velvet Room music pack, what does that mean? Like, what Velvet Room song really is there besides... Oh god, what the fuck is the Velvet Room? I can't even remember what the Velvet Room song is called. Like, what, is it just going to be all the different versions of that? Like the Persona 1 version, the fucking Persona, the version that was made for the original Persona 3 that was used in 4 and 5, the new version that they finally made for Reload, like, whatever, I don't understand that one. And there's also more Persona 4 Golden music, and more Persona 5 Royal music. So far, this DLC doesn't look very good, is it? But don't worry, because the real star of the show here is that we are actually getting the answer in Reload. That's happening, and this doesn't just come from Midori. And granted, even if it did just come from Midori, I would basically believe it, man. Here's basically my opinion on Midori's leaks are basically this. I believe everything she says, but I don't necessarily believe that what she says is going to happen, which you'll understand why when I get to talking about Persona Asa later. But anyway, so yeah, it wasn't just from Midori. Also, it was found in the fucking data, because Midori only leaked the answer, but all the other ones were found like in the data of the game because the game was data mined. So yeah, we are in fact getting the answer. Now, whether this will be the first DLC released or the last DLC released, I have no fucking idea. I imagine it would be the last. You assume it would be that, which means we're more than likely not getting this for like at least a year and a half. So, yeah, we're probably a good bit away from actually seeing the release of the answer. So, that's whatever. But I'm actually really excited about this. I'm not the biggest fan of the answer. I think the story is fine. I think it has some dodgy bits, and some of the character writing is a bit borked, particularly with Mitsuru. But anyway, that's not the point. And I also think that the gameplay of the answer is fucking dog shit. But that's a whole other fucking thing. Let's just hope they fixed all of that. But yeah, some I was going to say keen-eyed, but keen-eared viewers, I don't fucking know, might have realized that I didn't mention a certain, femc. So yeah, it's basically confirmed at this point that we're not getting the female protagonist. So that kind of sucks. So, look, here's my opinion on not getting the femc. Alright, does it suck? Yeah. It does kind of suck that we're not getting the femc in this game. But am I that mad about it? Not really. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I would like to have femc in the game just so we have all of the content from Persona 3 in one place. That was the entire reason I even wanted a Persona 3 remake in the first place. So, yeah, that's a little disappointing, like, at the end of the day. But on the other hand, there are people out there genuinely boycotting this game because it doesn't have the female protagonist. There's people saying they refuse to buy this game because it doesn't have the female protagonist. Like, do you people realize how dumb you sound? That is, without a doubt, the dumbest thing I have ever fucking heard. But whatever, like, granted, there's also people out there saying, I'm glad they're not adding the femc, and those people are just as dumb, but whatever. Like I say, my verdict on it is, like, it sucks we're not getting her, but, like, it's not the worst thing in the world. Reload is still really fucking good. Like, Reload is great. Like, I'll talk about this more once I actually get my review video out on the game, but I adore Reload. I think it's fantastic. So, you know, and plus we're getting the answer, which means, like, hopefully by September next year, this will be just a full-on remake of Persona 3 FES, which is insane when you think about it. Yeah, it's not even like the femc is completely inaccessible to newer fans. Like, Portable is on all systems, and at this point, the Portable remaster, I'm genuinely starting to think the only reason they ported Portable is so that the femc could actually be accessible to people. I genuinely think that's why they ported Portable last year. I genuinely think that's why, because it's really the only feasible reason as to why they would have done that. So, yeah, like, that's a whole thing. But I mean, like, let me put it this way: I don't think it's impossible that they, because the way it is that there is no plans. She definitely has fans. There is no plans for the femc right now, but depending on how well this DLC goes over, I could see them possibly doing more, and maybe then we could get the femc. But like, at that point, that's just entirely speculation. And like, even then, even if they did decide to do a second DLC, or I guess a third DLC, if you count the day one DLC, at that point, like, there's just so much work that goes into making the femc. Like, it would be even more work than it was in Portable, because with Portable, like, they had to make, like, sure, they had to have some new social links, had to have new music made and all that, but in this case they would have to remake all the new music, re-record pretty much all the dialogue in the game, find new voice actors for a lot of the new characters. So you'd have to find new voice actors for Kotone herself, Saori, Rio. Like, you'd have to do all of that. You would have to do so much. You would have to reanimate the goddamn cutscenes, not even just the anime ones, which would be really hard, but they would also have to reanimate the 3D animated cutscenes, which this game now has. Like, that's a carryover from P5. So, like, even if it was DLC, it would probably be a $60 DLC. Like, that's basically making an entire other game at that point. So it's like, I can understand why they're not adding her, because it would be a lot of work. But anyway, I've rambled on about the femc for way too fucking long. let's get into what I think is infinitely the more interesting part of what's been going on the last week discussion-wise. And this also comes from Midori, and it also comes from I'm a Hero 2 on Reset Era. I spoke about I'm a Hero 2 in my video from back when Reload and Tactica were first announced, which, by the way, I know I never ended up making a video on Tactica. That's because I'm still not fucking finished with it. Like, Tactica really was kind of just there for me. Like, it's a fine game, but I still haven't finished it. Like, I really have felt no reason to actually go and finish that game. So, who knows? Maybe I'll make a very late thoughts on it at some point, which will get like 2 views because nobody gives a shit anymore, but whatever. That's not the point. But I believe I talked about I'm a Hero 2 in that video, and I believe they said that, I forget what it was they said, but I think they said, I forget what it was, but I remember talking about this person before. So this person is not new. So this kind of comes from both of those leakers. Midori, who like I say, I pretty much trust 100% at this point that what she's saying is true. And there's I'm a Hero 2, who I don't really remember what they said in the other video, so I can't really say how reputable they are. But anyway, someone asked Midori on Twitter if about the Persona 4 remake, which, by the way, I haven't been keeping up with the Persona fan base like too much, like I said. Apparently people want the Persona 4 remake now. Like, when did that change? I remember when Reload was first announced, people were making the joke, oh, they're going to remake 4 next instead of 1 and 2. And now apparently, like, within the last few months, apparently the verdict has changed and people want the Persona 4 remake, which just makes me question what's wrong with people. But anyway, someone asked about a Persona 4 remake, and then someone else asked, what about a Persona 2 remake? And Midori said that both exist at Atlus, which it was crazy on its own, but when I heard that, the only thing that was coming to my head was, what about Persona 1? Because Persona 1 is the game I want Atlus to remake. That's the game that I want them to remake really badly. And then, lo and behold, Midori came out not too long later and said that Persona 1 is possibly getting a remake. And well, it is a thing at Atlus. Like, a Persona 1 remake is a thing that is being at least discussed at Atlus right now. But she also said that they're not all going to be in the Reload style. Now, what she means by this has been taken a few different ways. The general consensus seems to be what she means by Reload style is that some will get actual full-on remakes, like what Reload did, and some will just be remasters. And that kind of goes along with what I'm a Hero 2 said on Reset Era. Or I think they've changed their name now, but I just know them as I'm a Hero 2 because it reminds me of that fucking song from My Hero, which is a fucking banger, by the way. To be fair, that's probably what it's referencing, but I don't want to make assumptions. But whatever. Fucking, they said that apparently the P2 one at the very least is not a remake. It's a remaster, and apparently the major selling point is that it's going to have a new translation. Now, look, like I say, I don't know how reputable this I'm a Hero 2 person is, but that sounds... I don't know if I fully trust that, because, well, for a couple different reasons. One, I doubt Atlus has made that big of a decision on a Persona 2 remake already. Like, I imagine in Atlus's mind, before they decide to remake another Persona game, they would want to see how Reload did first. And Reload's only been out for a week, and granted, it has had the most successful opening week for any Atlus game, so there's that. But like 1 million units in the first week worldwide, which is kind of insane for an Atlus game at least. But yeah, I don't think Atlus would have made a decision like that already. I feel like they would have waited a little bit to see how Reload did. And I think if that's what they decide to do, I feel like they would still be in the decision-making process, not only on what to do with the Persona 1 and 2 remake, but also what to remake. Like, whether they want to remake 1 and 2, if they want to remake 4, or I don't know if they want to remake SMT4, because that game is, in Europe at least, is pretty much, I think you legally cannot buy that game in Europe now, because it was released digitally only, which kind of sucks. But, whatever. So I feel like that, I don't know if I fully trust that, but also, I don't understand why they would retranslate it and have that be a major selling point, because at the end of the day, Atlus's main market is Japan. Like, as much as they do have an audience in the West, like, Japan is their audience. That is their main audience. So, like, I feel like that being a major selling point wouldn't really be on their mind, because this wouldn't have reached Atlus West yet, I don't think. I feel like if this was in development, Atlus West wouldn't even have caught, well, maybe not caught, maybe they would know about it, but it wouldn't be in their hands yet. So I don't know if I fully believe that. But also, I kind of hope it's not true, because, oh my god, Persona 1 fucking needs a remake, dude. Like, I haven't played Persona 2, because I want to at least finish Persona 1 first. With Persona 1, I finished the Sebek quest, but I've only just started the Snow Queen quest. Well, I say just started. I started it months ago and haven't gone back to it because not having checkpoints in the dungeons is a pain in the ass. I know I could just use save states, but whatever. But fucking where the fuck was I? Yeah, Persona 1 needs a remake, I think, really badly, because the story and characters in Persona 1 are fantastic. I absolutely love its cast, and I love the story of the Sebek route at the very least. But the gameplay really does need a lot of fixing up. Even the PSP version kind of has some issues. Like, I think the encounter rate needs to be dealt with. Or, you know, they could just make it work like how it does in... Well, I was going to say they can make it like how it works in 3, 4, and 5, but Persona 1's in a first-person perspective, so I guess that wouldn't really work. But at least fix up the encounter rate. You know, make the combat a little bit less confusing. Like, make it more clear what the enemies are weak to. Like, and the fusion system would need a complete fucking rework, because Persona 1's fusion system is complete fucking wank. Persona 1 has a terrible fusion system. And, like, the negotiation system in Persona 1's fucking bullshit as well. Like, even if you're using a negotiation guide, it still doesn't make any fucking sense. So, like, whatever. Fucking, I think Persona 1 needs a remake really, really badly. So if they just remastered it, like, well, granted, I'm a Hero 2 was talking about Persona 2. So this might not even be in regards to Persona 1. But I just want to talk about Persona 1 because it's the one I'm the most interested in. Plus, I imagine if they're not remaking 2, they wouldn't remake 1 either. Like, I just think 1 needs it more. I don't know, maybe 2 doesn't need it as much. I've heard that Innocent Sin has a lot of problems, particularly being somehow easier than Persona 5, which sounds impossible to me, but whatever. So, I don't know if that game needs as much of a remake, or if Eternal Punishment does. I guess I haven't played those games, but Persona 1 really needs it, and I feel like if they remade Persona 1 and made it into a game that is actually really solid, has a great combat system, has an encounter rate that doesn't make me want to bash my head into a wall, has a fusion system that actually fucking works, I think they could make a really good game out of that. I genuinely think you could get a really, really good game out of that will make people actually want to experience how good that game's story is. Like, legit, Maki is one of my favorite characters in Persona. She's fucking awesome. So is Nanjo. Some of these characters are fucking great. Like, but whatever. Enough of me really, really wanting people to realize how good Persona 1's story is. Enough of that. So that's basically the general gist of things. So, like I say, I believe what Midori says, but I don't know if I necessarily believe what I'm a Hero 2 is. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm a Hero 2 is more reputable than I think they are. I don't really know, but whatever. Anyway, so that's going to be basically the main topic of the video, but I also do want to briefly touch on something that, like I say, is slightly old news now. But, okay, so I don't think I've talked about Persona 5 X on this channel at all. I think I might have, like, mentioned it once or twice on the lead up to Reload's announcement, because there was people thinking that the footage that was leaked, which we now know is Yukari's Theurgy attack, that everyone thought that was from X for some reason, even though it looks nothing like X. But whatever. So I think I might have mentioned it then, but I haven't really talked about P5X at all. So I think now is the right time to bring it up. So Midori, like I said before, was talking about a couple different games on Twitter. One of the ones that she leaked specifically was a party game called Persona ASA, some shit like that, that was apparently going to be, like I say, a party game. I don't know what type of party game, but I think the idea of Persona characters going about on a fucking board game type of thing, like in Mario Party, would be really, really funny. So I'm just going to choose to believe it was that, even though that's almost definitely not what it was, but whatever. And apparently would have had characters from all 5 Persona games. I'm including Persona 1 and 2 as one game there, because they probably just would have all been grouped in together. From both games, but whatever. So that sounded really interesting to a lot of people. But recently Midori came out and said that pretty much said there are plans to localize Persona 5X, which is something that a lot of us were worried about, was that maybe this game wasn't going to come out in the West, because we knew it was coming out in China, obviously, and we knew it was coming out in Japan, but we weren't sure about a Western release, and apparently, yes, it is coming out in the West. So that's either good or bad news, depending on how good you are with your money. But what got a lot of people worked up is that apparently, from what Midori says, apparently because of this, Asa might be cancelled. Now, granted, she didn't outright say that Asa was cancelled, but from what she said, I think what we can generally gather is that if P5X is being localized, Asa doesn't really have much reason to exist, because apparently it was going to kind of serve the same purpose. So apparently it probably also would have been a gacha game, which is interesting to think about. But so a lot of people actually got really mad at Midori for this, because English isn't her first language, so she wasn't really able to communicate what she was trying to say too well, which is just the most Twitter thing ever. But whatever, like, here's my deal on it. Like, she didn't say Asa was outright cancelled. It more than likely is, but there is a chance they could continue with it. But to be honest with you, I was never really that excited for Asa in the first place, mainly because it never actually got officially announced, so I didn't really think about it all that much. But I think the idea of Persona 5 X getting released is pretty cool, even if it is yet another fucking Persona 5 game, so, you know, there's downsides to everything, I guess. But whatever. Like, this is pretty old news now. I just kind of wanted to give my opinion on this and say that I'm not really that mad if Asa gets cancelled. Like, the only real cool thing about that game was that it was going to have characters from Persona 1 and 2. That's really all I can say about that game that I thought was going to be interesting. But I'm honestly a little more... I'm more interested in P5X at the very least, just to see how that game is, if you know what I mean. So, whatever. But anyway, I have been talking for over 20 minutes, Jesus fucking Christ, and I have no idea how I'm going to title and thumbnail this video because of how much I talk about it. So, I'm just going to end this here. So if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. Leave a comment in the comment section below telling me, I don't fucking know, telling me, like, if you think it's still possible that the FemC could be added. I personally, I don't, but I don't fucking know. Go nuts. I don't know. I apologize. I've only been up for like maybe 2 hours, and I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, so I'm not. Anyway, subscribe if you want to. I don't fucking know, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.